The Kelsey catch was obscured by the escape.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes is freaking Houdini at times. And we saw that a few times last night where a defensive player thinks he has a beat on Mahomes, and Mahomes just stops and spins and moves and whatever, and that defensive player was flat wrong. And you look at the passing stats last night. Mahomes had more yards than Jackson, but it really was spread out. 33 yards for Rice, 35 yards. Wait. Oh, no. Wait, I'm looking at the wrong column. Rice had 103.
103.
I was looking at the long. I'm sorry. I'll blame it on the fact that I'm sleep deprived. I was looking at the long play of the night, and it's like 33, 35. Is that up to 291? Wait a minute. Is my brain working wrong? Rashee Rice was the dominant performer last night. Worthy with 47. Kelsey was fourth on the list, even behind Noah Gray. Noah Gray had 3 catches for 37 yards. Kelsey had 3 for 34. So he kind of slipped. And that's the thing about tight ends. And that's what drives fantasy players crazy. You can never really predict on a consistent basis a big night. And Kelsey may have 130 and 2 touchdowns against the Bengals. Who knows? The Ravens might have just decided we're going to focus on taking him away, and whatever the rest of the offense does, the rest of the offense does. And there were some moments where it was like, why is Rashee Rice being covered by a linebacker? Why is Xavier Worthy being covered by a linebacker? They had guys coming in close to the line of scrimmage, those tighter splits, and they were getting into zone matchups and man-to-man matchups against linebackers. And that may have contributed to some of the numbers that we saw last night and some of the catches that we saw last night from people other than Travis Kelce.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Mike. And Mahomes does create so many things down the field with his escapability. And, Lamar does too, but, he takes off running, obviously, a lot more than what Patrick Mahomes does. And that 122 yards that he had rushing last night on 16 carries, that was the third most in his career, Mike, 87 games, which amazes me. But he can't keep taking those hits all season. I know he played this game like it was the AFC Championship game. You can't lower your shoulder and do some of the things he did and survive this season. He's got to take better care of himself. And I don't even think he can have 16 carries a game going forward and survive this season. He's got to better protect himself if the Ravens are going to have him all year and get to do what they think they can do, which they're still a Super Bowl contender. They showed that they can beat the Chiefs. They didn't beat the Chiefs, but they showed they can do it. They came within inches of having an opportunity to do that on a 2-point conversion. But to get back there, they need a healthy Lamar. And to get a healthy Lamar, he's going to have to better protect himself. I just don't think he can have 16 carries a game every game. And I know he's not going to, but don't lower that shoulder and don't do some of the things that he did last night.
MDS came up with the stat at one point, the double-triple, the 100 yards in multiple categories. And Lamar Jackson broke the record a long time ago. He had his 17th last night with more than 100, more than 100 passing yards and more than 100 rushing yards. Receiving would be another category where you could have 100 yards, but it's hard to imagine a quarterback doing that. For a quarterback, it's going to be passing and rushing. And you're right. He's not. Let me start from the beginning of my observation here. Before the game, and I did see some folks on the sidelines who are like, hey, did you bring your flowers for Lamar? So thank you for listening and watching PFT Live, because I was joking about, since I'm Mike Flores, taking him some flowers. But he was out there warming up, and we were down on the field early when it was hot and before the storm clouds gathered. He looks noticeably thin. There's no thickness in the torso. For a lot of quarterbacks, there's a thickness to the torso. There's that natural suit of armor that Chris Sims refers to that helps protect you against the wear and tear of playing the position when it's, a matter of basic physics and large, strong, fast guy hits you, your body's in a better position to distribute the forces that hit it if there's more mass there. The mass isn't there for Lamar Jackson. And he was taking too many hits as a running back would. I have always harped on the notion that if you're a quarterback, you need to have an instinct for when to slide, when to go down, when to get out of bounds. Avoid that hit, because every one of those moments when you get hit is the one that can result in an injury. And he did the unforgivable in my opinion, and I say this as a card-carrying member of the Lamar Jackson fan club. And we have always wanted the best for him. And we've always wanted him to get paid when he was supposed to get paid. And he got paid 2 years later than he should have gotten paid. And he eventually got paid, and that's great. He needs to protect himself. And the cardinal sin, it's the Jimmy Garoppolo RG3. We saw Garoppolo do it on that field 6 years ago. Drop the shoulder to deliver a blow and tore his ACL. We saw it week 1 when RG3 was playing for the Browns against the Eagles. Drop the shoulder, get a shoulder injury, and you're gone for weeks. You don't need to do that. He was not. And I understand there are occasions where you fight for the extra yard. He wasn't close enough to the first down when he dropped the shoulder. And that's just not sustainable. It'll burn brightly for a while, and then he's going to be injured. It gets back to the point that I've been making to Steelers fans since the schedule came out. Oh, we're upset that we don't play any of the teams from our division until week 11. Be grateful for that, because between Lamar Jackson, Joe Burrow, and Deshaun Watson, at least one of them is going to be injured by then. And if Lamar Jackson keeps playing the way he played last night, he's going to be one of them who is injured by the time the Ravens ever play the Steelers.
Yeah, it's just too many hits, Mike. He took way too many hits last night, and they're fortunate that they have some time now for him to recover, but they're not going to have that time going forward into the season. After every game, he's not going to have that time. So they do have some time now. So they got to work on that with him, and not play every game as if it is the Super Bowl, as if it is the AFC Championship game, which I felt like he was doing last night. And yes, it was a big game, but it was the first game of the year. You got 16 more of these and then playoff games that you've got to get through. So in game 1 and game 2 and game 3 and game 17, you've got to protect yourself to get to the postseason, to where then you can make some of those, okay, it's the season's on the line now. You know, there's no saving yourself. You've got to give it everything you have. But that wasn't the case last night. If he's going to play like that all year, I agree with you. He's not going to last the year.
They still got 16 games to go. This is only the 4th year of 17 games. So early in his career, I got 16 games. Well, right now you've played one, and it was rough and tumble, physical, and you had all those carries and 122 yards and a lot of tackles and a lot of hits, and you still got 16 games to go. Here's Lamar Jackson and Isaiah Likely talking about the bottom line from last night. They went to Kansas City with the goal of beating the Chiefs, and they failed.
I believe everyone in our locker room hate losing, point blank, period. Coaches, trainers, equipment guys, cafeteria, women and men, and definitely the players, you know, because we out there putting it on the line, blood, sweat, and tears. And for us to lose to those guys and the way we lost, even though I don't want to lose, but I can't be mad at my guys because they battled.
What do you take away from a competitive game like that against this team?
I say this is probably the worst game we're going to play all year. So if this is their best that they got, I mean, good luck in the postseason.
I don't know that I'd be writing that check, Isaiah. This is the worst game we're going to play all year? Good luck in the Not that those words are going to echo into January. The only thing that matters coming out of last night is the fact that the Chiefs control the tiebreaker. These two teams will be dramatically different by the time we get to January. And I think that gets back to the fair and constructive criticism that we have been directing to Lamar Jackson. It's not a marathon anymore. It's a triathlon, a football season. Your team is going to be very different. You just need to survive as long as you can, especially as the quarterback. Your biggest superpower as a quarterback is to be available to your team every week. And for Lamar, you can't have playoff intensity all season long, especially not with his playing style. It just won't work. And if it does, give him his 3rd MVP, because he'll have off-the-charts numbers. And the Ravens will win far more games than they lose if it comes down to it. But we've seen it time and again. It's not sustainable. You can't treat every game like it's the Super Bowl. You can't treat every play like it's the defining moment of a key game. You just can't. Not with a 17-game regular season on the way to 18.
Yeah, no question about it, Mike. And, that Chiefs defense is physical. I thought they were better than what they were last year. I think they have a superstar in Trent McDuffie, who they're going to have to pay an awful lot of money to after this season. He'll be in line for a contract extension. Chris Jones was Chris Jones. And they took it to Lamar. They hit Lamar and banged him up all night long. I know the sack numbers weren't there. I think they had 1 sack, and that was a Chris Jones sack, and that was on the fumble. But that defense is for real, Mike. And that may be one of the better defenses. There's a lot of good defenses I know in their division, but that's going to be one of the better defenses they play. I think that Chiefs defense is better than we've seen the last 2 years, and I think that's going to make a difference for them this year.
One last thing that got obscured by the outcome last night and the excitement of the final moments. There's a play where, he fought too hard. He wasn't going to get there. That's the Zay Flowers play. I was thinking that was the drop the shoulder. Anyway, that's what I get for not making sure I know what I'm looking at before I pop off. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.